This is Invincible Career. I'm Larry Cornett. I want to talk about how you repair your reputation when something goes wrong. There's a quote from Ben Franklin that says, "It takes many good deeds to build a good reputation and only one bad one to lose it." Unfortunately, that is very true. Robert Downey Jr. has had a lot of success in his career. And if you look back, he had great success in the very early years of his career. I remember watching him in movies when I was younger. But then it began to fall apart. From a period of time from 1996 through 2001, he was arrested numerous times on charges related to drugs. After 5 years of substance abuse, arrest, rehab, relapse, Downey finally began to work toward a full recovery, investing in his career, and rebuilding his reputation. And now I would say he is a poster child for a career comeback. He's maintained his sobriety since 2003, and it's hard not to think of him when you picture the Marvel film franchise and Iron Man. I mean, he is Iron Man. He said, "It's really not that difficult to overcome these seemingly ghastly problems. What's hard is to decide to do it." Now, most people won't experience such a spectacular fall from grace in the public eye. Most of us listening to this, me as well, maybe some of you, but many of us will experience a setback of some sort that impacts our reputation at some point in our careers. It can be due to something small, such as missing a project deadline. Now your reputation for reliability gets a little tarnished, and you'll have to prove that you can get things back on track and be trusted again. A setback could also be somewhat larger. Perhaps you made a really serious mistake at work and you were fired. It does happen. Now you're trying to figure out how to rebuild your reputation so you can land a new job and have a fresh start. Now, no one is perfect. We all make mistakes. Sometimes those mistakes damage our reputation. It happens. But you can't wait and hope that it will all blow over and go away. It's much better to take action to actively repair your reputation as quickly as possible. First thing you have to do is assess the impact. What are you dealing with? What is actually going on versus what you think is happening? If you're somewhat paranoid, like I am, you often worry that you've hurt someone's feelings or done something wrong. You hear those whispers in the hallway and you think people are talking about you. Someone acts a little strange, maybe a little off, and you jump to conclusions and you assume the worst. You assume you did something. Okay, maybe that's only me. Lucky you. I'm glad that you never feel that way. Believe me, it's not fun. There's a Joseph Heller quote, "Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they aren't after you." So sometimes it is real. Those little shifts in behavior do mean something. You did something wrong and it has negatively impacted your reputation in the company. How does that show up? Well, you start to notice that you're not being assigned the best projects anymore. You're not being invited to the meetings you would expect to be invited to. You're getting passed over for promotions that you're pretty sure you deserve. In the best situation, someone will come right out and they'll tell you that you screwed up. Your boss might tell you exactly what went wrong and what the impact is. Something went wrong and you're on probation now. Unfortunately, in some companies and in some cultures, people won't be as direct with you. So the burden's on you. You're going to have to dig deeper, talk with people, be direct and honest, accept their feedback without becoming defensive. That's critical. No one will ever talk to you again if you get upset and you explode and you get defensive. You've got to accept it and listen. You got to do all of this to get to the bottom of it. Because it's hard to fix a situation and do what's necessary to rebuild your reputation if you don't fully understand what happened and how much damage it's done. So take the next step to understand and own your mistakes. Be honest and take ownership of the mistakes you know you made. People will respect you more when you step up and claim responsibility rather than denying or deflecting or blaming someone else. If you don't understand where things went wrong, though, dig into the situation and find out why it was your reputation that took a hit. Is there an incorrect perception that it was your fault? Maybe it's not. Did someone misunderstand something that you said or did? So you did not intend it that way, but that's the outcome. Was someone else at fault, but they put the blame on you? That happens. I've had that happen. Or did you actually make the mistake? You did do it, but you were totally unaware of it. So figure out what happened, why it happened, and what role you played. One way or the other, you got to get to the bottom of the situation. Shine a light on everything to uncover the facts. So I often see that a reputation damaging situation boils down to one or more of the following. So it's either ineffective planning, so it's just bad planning, and things went wrong. Bad behavior, sometimes that's intentional, sometimes it's not, but the behavior is unacceptable and it damages your reputation. Harmful language. If someone's being sexist or racist or insulting people, yeah, that's going to damage your reputation. And then finally, poor communication. A lot of it does boil down to poor communication. Because if you fall behind schedule on a project, talk about it. Get the date changed. Figure out how to get more resources. But sometimes people don't. They don't communicate enough. If you were falsely accused, and that happens, then that needs to come out so you can clear your name. But if you actually did make the mistake, it's one of those causes. You said the words. They came out of your mouth. You engaged in the behavior. Step up and own it. So that's a critical. The next step is damage control. So once you understand what you're dealing with and the implications, like let's say you're at risk of being fired, not good, it's time for immediate damage control. So accept responsibility, sincerely apologize. That goes a long way, and you have to be sincere about it. And explain how you will make it right. What are you going to do? What are the reparations? How are you going to fix it? How are you going to make it right? You want to turn things around as quickly as possible. You also want to demonstrate remorse, true remorse. You really are sorry. And show that you won't let those same mistakes happen again. As a manager, and I was in the corporate world for many, many years, I can tell you I looked for 3 key indicators that employees were coachable, and I thought they'd be able to get back on the right track after something went wrong. First, they accepted feedback. They were honest about what happened. They took responsibility for their mistake. Second, they had a strategy and created a plan for recovering from a mistake and, importantly, avoiding it in the future. And then finally, they took action, fixed the issue, and their future performance demonstrated that they actually had learned from their mistakes. So all 3, it's like, yeah, great. That's damage control. You're back on track. You're starting to rebuild your reputation. And that's what comes next, is rebuilding it. It's not going to be easy. It's easy to lose it, not easy to get it back. But seriously, what other choice do you have? Getting ahead in your career is already challenging. It's even harder with a damaged reputation. Develop a strategy and create a plan to rebuild your credibility and regain trust. Start executing your plan and pay attention to how you operate every day. And I included a list of these in the newsletter. It's newsletter.invinciblecareer.com if you want to read through it. But it starts with defining the professional brand and reputation that you do want. How do you want to be seen? How do you wish you were seen? What's important to you? Seek a coach or advisor if you need help. Sometimes your boss isn't a big help. In fact, they might be part of the problem, so they can't help you, Or they're not good at it either. They lose their temper all the time. They have a terrible reputation. They're not going to be the best mentor for you. Then create a plan that outlines how you're going to rebuild your reputation and start making commitments you know you can keep. These are things that help reputations from being derailed. Communicate every step of the way. Course correct when necessary. Things change. Stuff happens. So you're going to have to communicate and course correct. And then it's all about being consistent. So consistently deliver on your commitments. Consistently treat others with respect at all times. Consistently behave in ways that reinforce your reputation positively. Consistently speak in ways that strengthen your professional brand and how people view you. You got to be consistent. Because if it's all over the place, it's really hard to build up a reputation. You have to consistently execute. And then finally, monitor your progress to stay on track. And it can help to get feedback from a trusted friend. It's hard to monitor yourself. Sometimes you're not aware of the things that you're doing. So having a trusted friend who can observe you in a work context helps a lot. And if you don't have that, you could share honest stories of your day. Describe your meetings, what you said, what they said, with a trusted advisor. Having that outside perspective lets you know how things are really going. You have to take control. I shared a quote that a good reputation is more valuable than money. And this week I've been talking with my premium subscribers about defining their professional brands. All too often we let our reputation and our professional brand be created organically. They just happen. However, your reputation is too valuable to leave to fate. Instead, take control and intentionally craft your strategy to strengthen and protect it, just as you would with any valuable asset. Now, that might sound silly. Does it sound silly to think of your reputation as your most valuable professional asset? Well, in some cases, it can be worth millions and millions of dollars. I know people who damaged their reputation, they lost their job, and they were permanently barred from serving as an officer or director of a public company ever again. Ever again. Guess how much that will cost you in terms of your lifetime earning potential? Because that's what's impacted. You don't just make that back. You have to factor in the reduction of your base salary, your bonuses, your stock, and you do the calculations and it starts to become tens of millions of dollars that are lost over decades. It's just not worth it. Take control of your reputation and guard it fiercely. And then finally, you're going to have to be patient. Warren Buffett says it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about that, you'll do things differently. And it's true. It's unfortunate, but it's true. If this happens to you, I know that you'll wish things can just return to normal as soon as possible. You want people to forgive and forget. But it doesn't work that way. You don't get to control that. People have long memories. Some will be waiting for you to trip and fall again. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with them. Your actions will speak louder than your promises. It's not about your promises and your words. People be watching your actions. So show the work ethic, behavior, and success that built your reputation in the first place. It will take time, but every win and positive interaction with you will rebuild your reputation brick by brick. If you can think back and remember the time that Downey was returning to the big screen, people were skeptical. Many were expecting him to fail and relapse, but he kept going. He stayed sober. He stayed out of jail. He kept working, delivering solid performances, and landing bigger and better roles. Now, people don't look at him and see a drug addict. They see a confident man who has built a new and improved reputation. They don't remember his failures. They remember him as Tony Stark in Iron Man. If you are a premium subscriber listening to this, I include a link to this week's professional development challenge that's defining your professional brand. So check it out, check your inbox, or go to newsletter.invinciblecareer.com where you can find it as well. Until next time, I wish you the best of luck in becoming an opportunity magnet for the best things in life.